All right, guys, this is part two. I'm not going to bother with the introductions too much because we did that in part one. But basically, we've got Carl, who is a Grimsby, or at least has an affiliation with Grimsby, but he's also been kind of converted by the looks of it to a Sunderland fan, i.e., the adopted Mackem. Yep, that's one of my favourite shirts, actually, by the way. Last part. So anyway, thanks for coming on, Carl. Obviously, we've done on his channel we do the football fan show, so it's kind of like that here, but it's just basically a straight up video call. So part one, we talked about the EFL, about who's coming down to the Championship, who's going up to the Premier League, and who we think are going to finish in the Premier League's top 4 Champions League places. Now, part two. Oh joy, Sunderland. Okay. I'm sick of negativity. Right. Okay. So let's talk about one of the first things. Tom Flanagan, as I said in one of my last videos, signed and sealed a new deal. He's got a new 2-year contract until 2022. Carl, your thoughts?
About time, Flanagan. About time. We needed this signature. I'm so glad he's done the extension for at least 2 years. Hopefully, he goes for a third. Come on, Flanagan. We need you. You are now going to be the catalyst that's going to get us more players.
Okay, but I mean, I agree that in the sense that this was definitely one that I think was coming. I think that it's one that I did think a few weeks ago when Chris Maguire, John McLaughlin, and Tom Flanagan were offered new contracts and new deals. I did say that I thought that Chris Maguire and Tom Flanagan would stay, but I did think John McLaughlin would leave the club. Now, for me, I'm pretty happy with how that's transpired. I'm not happy with John McLaughlin going. I still think we could have tried harder to keep him. But I also do think I think it's good that Flanagan's finally signed, because I was starting to think, right, this is taking the mick a little bit. This has been a few weeks since we've actually had anything remotely confirmed here. So for me, that is definitely a positive that Flanagan has signed. Like you said, though, I think it has to be a catalyst to get more players now. It's got to be. There's no excuse now for us to just sit back and just like, oh, right, well, we're pretty happy with that. Let's just not bother to sign anyone else. We need to get more players. We need to get more signings. Now that these contracts have finally been dealt with, we need to get more people. We need to get some fresh players through the door. Now we'll move on to another rumour that's going on. Bailey Wright, obviously for Sunderland, he came on loan from Bristol City in January. Probably had about 5 or 6 games for us, and then sadly suffered a season-ending injury at Oxford in the 1-0 win there in February, where he did very well. I'm pretty sure that most Sunderland fans would agree that I think when he was on the pitch, I think he made us look much more organised defensively. He was organising his defensive companions. He was making sure we were in line, not being ridiculously open at the back. And although I do believe that even Bailey Wright getting injured wasn't an excuse for us to stop keeping clean sheets afterwards, because we were keeping clean sheets before Bailey Wright signed for Sunderland, he was a miss. I'm not going to be naive and pretend he wasn't a miss, because he was. The biggest thing for me, if we do sign him, is keeping him fit. What are your thoughts on it, though? So Bailey Wright looks like he's signing. Looks like he's currently on holiday in Ibiza at the moment, according to BBC journalist Nick Barnes. But upon returning, it looks like he's signing a new 2-year contract.
Just like you, big respect to Nick Barnes. Every time I hear something, I've got to go straight to Nick Barnes. He's my one and true source.
Which one? Tomato or ketchup? Sorry, tomato or brown sauce. Yeah, right. Sorry, guys, that was a horrendous joke. We'll try to do that. Go on, then, continue.
Bailey Wright, yeah, he was fantastic for us, and then getting that injury, really, it shocked us a bit, but we could have kept more clean sheets. It doesn't take one person to keep clean sheets.
Yeah, exactly. It's a collective effort. Like, as you know yourself, even when we play for Autism Able, that even though I'm one of the worst footballers out there, I like I called the Mackem Van Dijk in amongst the team, but I'm horrendous. I've got no technical quality whatsoever. But what I like to think I do quite well is try and keep people in position, and just other people who are easily more technically gifted than I am, but one where I'd like to think I've earned respect, because he's just like, praise them when they're doing something right. Sometimes have a go at them a little bit when they're doing something wrong, but don't go too much on them. But also just keeping things simple and organised. That's one of the biggest things. And defensively, that is where you need the most communication out of anybody. That in some way, in terms of communication and like team camaraderie, that's one of the most important positions, if not the most important one on the pitch.
Exactly.
So go on. Sorry, I know I interrupted you for 5 minutes.
But the thing is, even though his loan deal ended, he's a free agent. Bristol City released him on July 2nd.
Oh, exactly.
So he's a complete free agent. So we need to get him sorted. But the big problem was this proposed salary cap, which is coming through. But there's a loophole. Big loophole. This could benefit Sunderland massively. The loophole is that the wage budget has to be no more than 2.5 million and can only have 22 players. If that loophole gets voted in, then we've got an open door to get Bailey Wright in, plus more.
The biggest thing for me with that salary cap, I suppose in hindsight, Sunderland's wage bill apparently is still way over 2 million, 2.5 million. So we would then need to...
I'm greedy.
Sorry?
I'm greedy.
Oh, God, yeah. But either way, yeah. Look, like, if that salary cap comes in, I would be quite concerned because it means that's going to limit massively what we can do in the window. Now, financially, it might keep us in better sound and better footing, but it means we're going to be relying on youth players a lot more. Oh, wait, we barely have any. We're not getting to that. I think that's the likes of Ballymumba going, the likes of any decent player from the academy going to shambles. It's just some complete neglect from the ownership. However, if this salary cap, I think what should be happening is your wages should be a percentage of your income. And Sunderland's income, even though we don't have parachute payments anymore, I would still expect, once fans are allowed back in, Sunderland's income will be the biggest in League One. It's just fact. It's going to be because of the stadium size we have. Granted, it'll cost more to run it, but you're going to get probably the same amount of fans that, say, Portsmouth do in League One, maybe even similar to what Ipswich do. So for me, like even if you look at, Hull, Tottenham, Wigan don't get as many fans at the moment. But either way, the point stands that for me, the salary cap should be dependent on what your level of income is and what you can afford and can't afford to do. I get Sunderland being financially aware of what's going on, fair enough. But, I don't think this should, like you said yourself, you've got McGeady, which actually we can let's talk about Aidan McGeady because I barely spoke about him on the channel. So, what are your thoughts about it? So, obviously, we'll just quickly recap what's happened. So, basically, once Jack Ross was sacked in October last year, when Phil Parkinson came in, Aidan McGeady was starting a fair few games. He was in the team more or less for the first half dozen games of his tenure. Then something like December 2019, like start of December, like before Christmas last year, McGeady was basically frozen out of the squad and said he was free to find a new club. There's a podcast called What the Folk with Graham Falk, obviously. Pretty cool name, actually, to be fair. But he mentioned he was talking to a player, I can't remember which player it was, but he was talking to a player who was played under Phil Parkinson at Bradford, who apparently was in the Bradford team. And he got frozen out by Parkinson and told him that he was free. He wanted him to go, leave the club, leave Bradford, and he wasn't allowed to come to training either. Now, I do kind of half wonder whether Aidan McGeady is in the same situation here. I think McGeady on his day, and granted this is on his day, so it depends. He needs to display it quite often. On his day, I think he's the best technical player in the league. I think he's actually, at the very least, he's one of the best players technically in League One. However, the rumours were that he was causing problems behind the scenes. Now, that I'll leave people to their own minds as to whether they believe that's true or not. Then, obviously, he went on loan to Charlton second half of last season. Do you think Aidan McGeady coming back now has a future at Sunderland, or do you think that we're just going to look to get rid of him? And apparently, his wages are 16k a week, which might end up making the decision. But
yeah, literally, in League One, what player actually can command £16,000 a week? Literally, this is the third tier of English football where wages has got to be a little bit shorter, put the transfer budgets a little tighter, and the chance of survival is high. And if some people don't agree with that Look at Bury. Just look at the Bury situation, which I mentioned in part one. But Aidan McGeady to say, oh yeah, I played in Europe, I played in a Prem, I played in this team and this team and this team, I won this. I don't care. Aidan, you're in League One. You need a lower budget, lower wage. If you can't handle that, there's the door. Leave this team. We'll take that 16k a week. We'll get somebody who wants to play with this badge and not actually moan about getting 5 or 6k a week.
Well, this is the thing for me, because I think if the salary cap was introduced and we weren't allowed to bring many players in, then I would use Aidan McGeady in a heartbeat. I think if we could find a way to get him on the same page as the rest of the squad without over-relying on him at the same time, I think he would be a very handy, even at his age in League One, I think he'd be a very handy asset to have. The biggest thing for me is I just don't think he will. I think Aidan McGeady's played his last game for Sunderland. I think he'll probably end up leaving the club. I would have said sell him to Charlton if Charlton had stayed up. Now that they're in League One, not a chance. There's no way we should be selling to Charlton there. If there's any Championship club or bottom end Championship club that it will be, and I think Aidan McGeady will have some suitors, then I would get rid of him. I would sell him to them because I think that he could have something in the bottom end of the Championship. He could at least be worth a punt at his age. For the wage he's on, if he is on 16k a week, yep, that's fair enough. I can completely get why Sunderland want to get rid of him. But then I would expect that wage to then be used to go and get a couple of really top quality League One players. I'm talking top 2 level League One players, where you don't need to spend that much. You don't need to spend that much wages wise to get the top end. The most you probably need to spend is about 8 to 10k, I would imagine, and that's probably at very most, probably even lower than that in some respects. So for me, Aidan McGeady will go. I don't think Parkinson fancies him. I don't think that Aidan McGeady will want to stay while Parkinson's there. And the fact is, and one of the big issues when Aidan McGeady was playing was the tactic was, oh no, right, McGeady's there. We'll pass to him. He'll bail us out of the muck. Oh, right. Okay. Teams are doubling up on Aidan McGeady. Right. We'll pass to him again. All right. We'll pass to him again. Oh, right. No, that's not working. Whereas I think other players don't tend, and obviously I've done a comedic oversimplification there. But for me, the biggest issue is that a lot of players just don't take responsibility when McGeady was playing on the pitch because they'll think, right, we'll get McGeady, he'll just do everything. Now, if Aidan McGeady was going to be playing, one of the smartest things Sunderland could do is use him as a focal point to detract 2 or 3 opposition players onto him, and then other players run down channels, down the byline, into open space and exploit it. That's what we should be doing if we're going to use McGeady in the team. If we're smart enough, which granted it's Sunderland, so probably not, but if we're smart enough, you would use McGeady to your advantage that way and actually, use that to bring other players into play and actually open space up for everyone else. Having said that, though, yeah, I do think we'll get rid of McGeady and I don't think we'll use him. But anyway, what about players? Is there any players out there that stand in mind for you as to who you would like to see come into the club? Because I've got a few lined up. I've got a few players who I'd like to see. You can be the judge whether you think these are realistic. I personally think these should be realistic. But here we go. Luke Garbett. He's a left back who was on loan at Ipswich from Everton last year. By the way, these players are all free agents, just to put that out there. Luke Garbett, on loan at Ipswich, scored against Sunderland at Ellen Road. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure Luke Garbett scored against us last season. The second one, Ben Hennigan, centre-back who was linked with Sunderland the last few years, was on loan at Blackpool from Sheffield United. Again, just been released, free agent. Third one, well, obviously, Bailey Wright. I'll not include Bailey Wright in there because it looks like that's going to happen. The third one, Scott Fraser, just left Burton Albion. Apparently, he's a midfielder, and I think he's more of an attacking midfielder or at least something of a playmaker. He's someone I think we need quite badly. It's a position we need to strengthen in quite badly, and I just don't see any reason not to go for him. The fourth one is Armand Nangelé, the striker who was at Blackpool last year. Apparently, over a year ago, had a £5 million quoted price tag. Now, Sunderland are never going to pay $5 million for Nangelé. I understand that. Now he's springed he's a small brother. He's got quite a bit of football on him, and I think someone who did what Parkinson wants to do. But want the forward to try and hold play up and actually do more than just 4 goals. If Nangelé could do what Wycombe supposedly does, then bring it up. And the next one, I think before coming on air, I wasn't going to try and mention him, but screw it. Marcus Maddison. Will we sign him? Probably not. I don't expect Sunderland to go for Marcus Maddison at all, but I just think with free, there's absolutely no reason not to. Those are my 5, on top of Bailey Wright, those 5 players I think would significantly strengthen Sunderland's team. They're all free agents. You're not going to command outright transfer fees. Yes, you've got agents' fees and you've got wages to consider, but you've just let go of the likes of Alamos Turk, Ethan Robson, Jack Baldwin, Duncan Watmore, Kyle Lafferty. There's a number of players there that have just left the club. Duncan Watmore would have been on an astronomical amount. He probably would have been on more than what McGeady was on. And in McGeady goes, that's another, supposedly, another 16k to play with. That's my list of players who I'd like to see come into the club. Whether we get any of them, I don't know.
In terms of the Ethan Robson thing,
yeah, he was a couple of years ago, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at Grimsby for the rest of the season, and he did fantastic. He did absolutely fantastic. And Grimsby said that will sign him in a heartbeat, but Sunderland won't let him go. So, because this is what I would have done. I would have took Ethan Robson. If I was a hierarchy at Grimsby, I would have took Ethan Robson, and I would have gave you Charles Vernon. Now, Vernon has proven record. He's played League One, he's played League Two, he's played in conference. Fantastic goal scorer. Literally, you can't get one of the best. He can literally command about 20 goals a season, Charles Vernon. I would have had him at Sunderland straight off the bat.
So here's the thing:
bring in Vernon, done deal.
For Grimsby, Ethan Robson's just been let go. Now I don't know if he's gone to another club yet, but if he hasn't, then Grimsby should be looking all over that deal.
I think they are. I've got a few people who work at Blundell Park, and they have said that they are looking into acquiring Ethan Robson. They've been acquiring to get him since March, April time. They've been trying to make it permanent. So this is Grimsby's chance to actually get him. To your top 5, not including Bailey Wright, because we all know that's going to be happening pretty soon.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Oh. Right there. Fingers crossed. I've got to... I'm literally picturing all 5 of them in my head and their positions and where they will fit in.
Well, basically, you've got left back, centre midfielder, attacking midfielder, striker. I would say we need a couple of wingers on top of that as well.
Yeah.
But I do think those 5 players would improve Sunderland's team. And I think that we should be looking... If we got about 3 of them, then I think that's acceptable. I think we should be looking to get at least 3 of them. Will we? Probably not, no. But, those are players we should be looking at, in my opinion.
I will go for...
Okay, it's interesting.
The kid from Everton.
Okay, go on then. Oh, Luke Garbett, okay.
Yeah, I will go for the second player you mentioned.
Which was?
Pass.
Ben Henderson.
I should have written down.
Okay, I'll go through them again. Right, I'll tell you what. We'll go through all the players, and you tell me simple, one-word answer. Yes or no, would you take them? Luke Garbett.
Yes.
Ben Hennigan, on loan at Blackpool, but has just been released by Sheffield United. Centre back.
Yes.
Centre back, okay. Right, who's the next one? Oh, I've forgotten now. Scott Fraser, just left Burton Albion.
No.
Okay. Armand Nangelay, just left Blackpool.
No.
Marcus Maddison.
Be a bit of a unrealistic target, but yes.
See,
I will take Maddison.
Why do you think, just out of interest, why do you think it's unrealistic? Because I disagree. I don't think it is.
It's just this so-called salary cap. That's what's...
Well, okay, yeah. If the salary cap comes in, I could say it's being unrealistic. Fair enough, then. Okay.
Well, if the salary cap wasn't in, then yes, Madison straight off.
Okay, fair enough then. Right, the last thing we'll talk about, the story about William Story. We've got, now he's the CEO of Rich Energy, which apparently, I think is an energy drinks company. Bearing in mind, I don't drink energy drinks, so I don't have a clue who they are. But apparently he's not been very popular in the Formula One scene.
Yes.
Apparently he has, he's claimed it himself on Twitter. He said he can't say much due to NDA, which is non-disclosure agreement, that he has apparently launched a formal bid to buy Sunderland. It's been met with mixed reception, to say the least. What are your thoughts on it? What's your story? What's your story on Story?
Well, the story on Story, I actually found out last night from yours truly, when I got the notification on my phone that you banged in another banging video. I thought, oh, well, I might as well give it a check. And then I heard the name, Rich Energy CEO, William Story. I thought, I've never even heard the guy. Let's research it.
So yesterday.
So William Shorty, Story, was a little bit of a shorty in terms of stuff. Former CEO of Rich Energy, he left not so long ago. He tried to buy Force India, the Formula One team. That didn't go through, so he ended up having the Haas Formula One team. He's got a load of connections. He's got the funds. Don't get me wrong, he has the money. But
you're looking apprehensive.
If he passes the EFL's flawed fit and proper test, if you don't know what I'm on about, make sure you watch part one because you'll see him go in a bit of a rage.
Yeah, both of us, well, mainly me, went on a bit of a rage, but go on anyway.
If he passes that and and Donald, don't go too much into Stu.
I'm sick of talking about Donald.
Yeah. Agrees to 40 million. He's out. Story in. Will it be beneficial for the club? He's got a lot of work to do. I mean, a lot of work. He's got to set up the academy. We got to get the youth team back. We got to get the players in. We got to get the infrastructure back. We need everything back to where it should have been, the way it was. Will it be a good fit? I think it will. I think Story will be a good fit. Will we be on his, but will we be hounding for his head if he messes up? Too right, we will. Exactly. We're passionate.
But remember, it's the fans' fault, apparently.
Yeah, whatever, Donald.
Yeah, it's okay. Just ignore the fact that I know I said I wouldn't talk about Donald, but like the last 2 years, let's just forget that our lowest home attendance was over 26,000, which was a playoff game, which, by the way, was a playoff game against Pompey, where we only had about a week's notice that the game was going ahead for that date. Just forget the fact that half the time we get over 30,000 at the Sol in League One. Yes, some of them are away fans, but you're selling out over half your stadium in League One in the third tier. Just forget we sell out nearly away from home, and forget out that we sold out Wembley for the Checkatrade final, turned out in our droves, and also even the playoff final, which yes we didn't sell out, but that was like 7 weeks after the Checkatrade final, when London, for an area that doesn't get much income, that's an expensive place to go. So I think no, sorry Donald, fans aren't the problem, mate. I think you need to readdress yourself.
Yeah. As soon as I heard that Donald was blaming fans, I was like,
yeah.
Have you had an head injury, mate? What's going on, lad?
Jeez. Well, we'll not go into it because it'll just get us too annoyed.
But anyways, lads, it's the Donald bit. Gone.
That's how I think every Sunderland fan feels about Donald, to be honest, and justifiably. Right, guys, that is the end of it, because we won't try and drag this on too long. If you made it through to the end of this, fantastic. Thanks again to Carl for coming on. Go and check out his channel, The Adopted Mackem. I'll try to remember to put a link to it in the description. If I forget that, I'll probably put a link in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you for the next video that I do, and hopefully there's some positive stuff because we bloody need it. Thanks again, Carl.
No problem, brother.